Did we have a good time watching the movie, folks? Did we learn a lot? One person did, that's fantastic. Are we going to check out the big budget biopic of Cassandra coming out later this year?
Yes.
7 people are agreeing with me. Yes, it's happening. And Gail Garcia, I'm sorry, that's the one playing Cassandra. All right, so folks, with that out of the way, it's time for the Q&A section of Out of the Roxy. So please join me in giving a big Out of the Roxy welcome to the reigning Montana drag wrestling champion, Margaret Murder, the Millennial of Mayhem. Margaret! Oh my God, did her car break down again? There we go. That was a real baller move with your own music there, Margaret.
Thank you.
Margaret, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you all for being here.
So, Margaret, how's your car doing, first of all?
Oh, it's stuck in Deer Lodge. You know the shithole.
I do know that shithole. I spent 18 years there.
Yeah.
Not because I was in prison. I was in prison, but it wasn't the kind you're thinking of.
Family prison.
All right, so Margaret, before we get started with the Q&A section, and I'm really sorry about this, I want to just sort of address, recently on social media, you received a little bit of criticism, we're going to say, from certain parties on the internet, and I was wondering if we could maybe just address a little bit.
Yeah, what'd they say?
Okay, so I'm quoting here from, and I hate to put this person on blast, but her name is Iris Von Moxley. She is a very talented local drag performer, and she's not a fan of yours, as it turns out.
Yeah, we were at a show once. I've heard of her.
Okay, so I have some of her comments. I wonder if I could just read these to you real quick.
Please do.
Okay. The only thing Margaret Murder can teach us is about bleeding on stage and which make and model of car is the bestest I can gas from. Or, Margaret is half-ass drag. Ever since I saw her at the last House of Mystery show, everything that involves Margaret Murder makes my skin crawl. Not that I get to see much since she's so busy wafting between dive bars and parking lots, defending her championship in front of any shambling corpse unfortunate enough to be in the vicinity. Montana drag deserves so much better than some schmuck in Chuck Taylors bumbling around, tearing off pieces of their crappy car, and beating up dime a dozen homophobes from the Bitterroots, while supposedly championing drag. I'm preparing for my 4th straight weekend in drag, to do back-to-back shows, mind you, and I'm starting to wonder why I never see Margaret anywhere. How do you get to call yourself a champion of this community when you're not a part of this community?
Well, I don't really need to talk about Iris right now. I'm going to say this. If I see Iris out in public, I will address this, but I'm not just one of those weirdos who goes and fights on social media. That's just really not my jam. If Iris has a problem, she can come tell me.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for letting us address that. I know it's never easy to hear people criticizing you online.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is real. I mean, yeah, I fight in parking lots. I guess. Do you not fight in parking lots?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, in fact, I've fought in a lot of places. I don't really want to say where I've been recently, but just to say like states like Arkansas, Alabama, Idaho, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Tennessee, the shithole called Texas. Like, I've performed in all those places recently because, let's face it, drag is under attack everywhere, and we have to start fighting up for it. I'm not just fighting like a little local battle like Iris is. No, I'm fighting the goddamn war.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Margaret. So, Margaret, first question I want to ask you about this is, what do you love about professional wrestling?
That moment when you hit someone right in the face and they know that you're the real goddamn deal. That moment when you throw a homophobe through a table and the crowd goes crazy, that is what I love about wrestling. That moment where you can just be whoever you want to be at any moment, at any time, and just take that little bit of wonder and just shove it right in their face and be like, guess what? We're fucking battling here.
That's very in-depth answer on that. I thought we were going to talk about the costuming, but I guess it is a very violent sport.
Oh, it's my favorite.
And you are a very violent person. Like your matches defending your Montana Drag Wrestling Championship have been marked as some of the most bloody that our state has ever seen. Most recently, you defeated the righteous Chastity Welks in a ladder match. She sucks, that ugly bitch. I hate her so much.
She was mean. She hit me with a chair. She had goons. I didn't know that was even possible. I didn't know people had goons. But I'll tell you this. One of my favorite things was shutting her the hell up. It was silencing that hate. That was one of my favorites.
That's really fantastic. And then previous to that, you defended your belt in a Falls Count Anywhere match against, one of the legends of Treasure State Drag, Helena H. Montana. Could you tell me a little bit about that match, please?
Well, Helena couldn't keep her mouth shut. And this is where I run into problems with a lot of performers and drag performers, is she just kept yapping away, and if you're gonna do that in the middle of my set, we're gonna have a Falls Count Anywhere, I'm gonna take you right down. And magic sucks sometimes. I'm just gonna say that.
I thought it was very bold of you to finish that match inside a China buffet.
It's the only place to do it. Those lights break, you can start stabbing her a little bit, it's lovely.
And you did stab her. I hear that she's just regained use of her arms.
Oh, well, I'll make sure to send her a card or a piece of my card, one way or another.
Yeah, your car is famously in really bad shape. Could you tell us a bit more about your car?
Yeah, let's talk about to begin with, the drag wrestling doesn't pay what it's supposed to, let's face it, like any performance venue at this rate in time. And so, yeah, I can't always afford to keep my car running, and I gotta find duct tape and other ways to make it go. So that's why it's always breaking down, is because drag wrestling doesn't pay, but I'm not gonna stop doing it. If it means I have to hitchhike in a weirdo red county, I'm gonna do it.
You are much braver than I am, Margaret.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so next question. You were famously trained by the bearded witch Virgo Moon. Ooh, got a Virgo Moon fan here. Yes, we got some Virgo Moon fans here in the audience. Now, what was it what was the best lesson that Virgo Moon gave to you in wrestling?
Don't back down. And just remember that anything can be a weapon. And every now and then, don't be afraid to use a little magic to win.
That seems like very specific advice.
Yeah.
Well, it seemingly worked out for you very well. Like, you really are like the face of Montana drag wrestling. Like, whatever magic it is, I think totally works out for you. Now, moving on briefly to the film tonight, Margaret, what are your thoughts on Cassandra the Exotico, the film?
First of all, I love it when drag wrestling is brought to the big screen. So my favorite thing was drag wrestling. The thing I like the least is not enough drag wrestling. I feel like there was all these stories. Like, I'm now obsessed with Cassandra, but the movie really didn't touch on all of the lovely things that I wanted to learn about his career.
And it's quite a career, over 26 years on that. Now, of the wrestling that we did see, the thing that I think struck me the most is when we just cut to Cassandra jumping the fuck off a building.
Yeah. There was also those like massive suicide dives in chairs, and I was like, Cassandra just don't give a fuck. Like, go for it.
I could not do a Tobe Con hero with the hips that I have, let alone one that was replaced by doctors.
Yeah, no. Especially with these big feet, there's no way I'm getting through the ropes without falling on my face.
Well, Margaret, let's move on to a bit more of a dour note. So right now, Montana, like many places across the country, is facing these potential drag bans. And there is currently legislation that is on its way to the desk of Governor Greg Gianforte. Boo, yeah. I mean, okay, does not reflect the Rock Theater or any disabilities, but yeah, boo Greg Gianforte. Now, Margaret, that bill is going to strip you of your title, which means, very realistically here in a little bit, you could be the last ever Montana drag wrestling champion. I was wondering if we could just hear your thoughts on that a little bit.
First of all, I'm disgusted in the state of Montana. I've lived here my whole life, and the fact that they're just deciding now to come up and make these bullshit laws, also stripping me of my title that took me so long to earn, I am just absolutely irritated by, and I feel furious. And I have to first of all start with, the one person that I really want to throw through a table is the person who's known for throwing reporters through tables, and that is Greg Gianforte. You go ahead, bitch, if you want to fight right. I'm not going anywhere. I will be reigning in Missoula until I can't pay rent anymore. And then I will move outside of
I've heard
town.
about enough of this. Move it, Robert. Oh my God, hello. Hi, testing. Oh, I'm glad you can hear me. In case you're not very observant, I am Iris Von Moxley. That's right, applaud. Maybe you heard I've been performing at drag shows all around Missoula in the past few weeks. I don't know, I was at the rally for Zoe Zephyr a few weeks ago. A couple weeks ago I was at Queer Prom performing there. Let's see, last Saturday I performed in back-to-back shows. And I'll tell you what, I didn't see Margaret at any of them. I never see Margaret. The only time that I've ever seen Margaret is at the House of Mystery show on February 18th, where I had the displeasure of meeting her for the first time, seeing her, smelling her.
Wafting it all in.
Yeah,
Well,
really soaking it in.
Iris, if you've shown up, you've learned that I'm just more than a local performer. I perform everywhere, and I do everything. And I battle this war over and over again instead of being catty as shit on Instagram. That's what I do.
You do everything? Hmm?
Everything.
Yeah, like you put on your own makeup, because I can definitely tell. I can see that you picked out those shoes, probably from the bottom of your closet. Looks like that wig you got from Spirit Halloween, still soaked in your blood. Disgusting.
Oh. You want to hear a little story about this wig? Since you're so good at making fun of me because you're just an elevated, pretentious drag queen who's an elitist who doesn't understand that drag has multiple forms of platforms so it can do whatever it wants. The reason I have this wig is because my wife/partner is a cancer survivor. And she used to wear this wig when she would go get chemotherapy. So this inspires me to beat the shit out of people so I can pay that chemo bill.
Oh my God, Margaret, I'm really sorry. I didn't really consider that. I feel so bad for your wife having to put up with so many burdens in her life regularly. That's devastating.
Okay, bitch. This is about to get real. I've had a couple problems with you to begin with because you're always like, I don't know, I read one of your social media posts, I was trying to avoid it earlier, but you were all like, Margaret's too violent for drag. I don't know if that's possible. Let me tell you something. How do you think I got the Montana Drag Wrestling Championship? Dancing around to a song that plays? No. I did a lot of punching, a lot of kicking, a lot of biting, a lot of throwing people through tables. Guess what? You just might be next.
I'm not afraid of Margaret Murder, okay? There's nothing that she can do to me that is gonna scare me or put me off from letting her be the last champion. Disgusting.
You're starting to piss me off.
Oh, that much is clear.
Because let's face it, I think you've forgotten about the ideology and the fundamentals of drag. Because it all started about someone, a group of people, being whoever they wanted to be, sharing however they wanted, and doing it in the comfort of how they wish. Not just sitting here being all elevated and elite. No. In fact, here's how I express myself. I beat the shit out of every living thing from toxic male dudes, conservative douchebags, and silly-ass drag queens like yourself. Fuck it, we're gonna do this for fun.
I don't know what you do. Oh my God. Oh. No. I'm so sick of you ruining drag! Come on here. That's right. Well.
There wasn't a countdown.
Ooh, boy. I guess that concludes the Q&A for the evening. We hope that you see us here again next month. Oh, that's going to be trouble. Well, we'll see you next month at the City Chorus Film Festival.
Yes.
Thank you so much, folks. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. I'm gonna go down 9-1 and then just wait and see what happens. So we'll go figure that out. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much.